ready for the Fever's last opportunity to beat the Aces. They were
Hmm.
0-3 against them. They had one last shot. I had mentioned that pretty much all the big top teams that the Fever had eventually beaten this year, it took the
Yeah.
final game of the season series for them to do that and what that would look like. And they did not. We did not need to worry about that. They did not beat the Fever. A lot of talk right now about Caitlin's frustrations and getting technicals, and if that is, a thing that we need to be looking out for in the postseason. And again, I repeat, a lot of people didn't watch Caitlin, I think, in college, at least her whole career. That's very much a part of her personality. In fact, at the tournament, the first game or so of the tournament, it was a point of conversation amongst our guests with Andrea Carter and Shania Gumake, just how she needed to keep her emotions in check, how her team played, particularly well. She didn't play well, but her emotions had really got the best of her, and she acknowledged it. She
Yeah.
acknowledges all the time. In fact, Lisa Bluter used to call technicals on her at practice because she gets so fired up. So no, I'm not concerned about her being fiery. I'm not concerned about any of those things or the fact that she, airs her grievances with the refs. But we're so close, Gare Bear, in
Yeah.
terms of the postseason. I mean, we've got a handful of games down the stretch. Uh, we've got Chicago losing to Minnesota and then Atlanta losing to Washington, and Atlanta able to hold on.
Yeah, they were playing the Mystics at the time of us firing it up. Meanwhile, the Fever have un game left against the Mystics, the second to worst team in the entire league. So I think the Sky slide in, or excuse me, I think the Dream do slide in because the Sky, while yes, they play the Mystics, they have to play the top seed Liberty to end out their season. So that's no bueno for them. And while you're looking up whatever you're looking up, I like the um I like the range of personality and fieriness that we're seeing out of the Fever because if Caitlin Clark is starting to round into tournament form like we saw her do on the big stage in the tournament, that's obviously what she's going to bring into the playoffs. As it sits right now, them being the sixth seed and actually the Lynx leapfrogged the Sun, which I actually think is a good thing for the Fever. They started the season 0-3 against Connecticut, but I think they match up a little bit better against them. They won the fourth and final matchup. So as it sits right now, that would be the playoff matchup for the Fever against the Connecticut Sun team that they've most recently beat compared to a Lynx team that they most recently lost to, actually in a big way because they were up double digits and the Nafisa Collier led the Lynx to that comeback win.
Yeah, and if the Fever.
So before we continue, I do want to mention this is one time where Elle is actually taking a good take on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, if you watched her, Caitlin, she plays with passion. She's gonna get rowdy. She's gonna get fired up, and she, as Elle stated, she does a very good job of admitting and understanding that she needs to work on her frustrations and her emotions towards the refs. The good thing about it is that it's all towards a positive action as far as basketball. She's fired up about calls or she's fired up about how she's playing or whatever the case is. Elle stated something very, very good. Bluter, Lisa, she's not playing that. Lisa had a way of getting to Caitlin that Chrissy Sides just doesn't have that demand. And this is the problem where I keep telling everybody Chrissy Sides is a good coach, but she doesn't have that demand over the players. She's not a Becky. She's not a Don Staley. She's not a Cheryl Reeves. She's not a Miller. She's not a she's not a Mulkey. She's not a Gino. She's not a Popovich. So I keep telling everyone in the next couple, well, not next year, they're gonna have to get Caitlin Clark with a real coach, like a veteran coach. She can't. This is not time to have a 2-year coach in the league. No, 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 no. The Indiana Fever have turned into a winning culture, and they need veteran coach. Veteran coach is on the list for next year, 100%. Now, what they're going to do this year, they're going to go out and compete. They have all the tools, all the pieces they need to go out and compete. Yes, they're a young team. Yes, they have minimum playoff experience, and especially with the starting five, there's none actually. But I believe they could do it. As stated, they're playing the Connecticut Suns. They did get the last game, which is going to be the Suns' best form with Mabry on the team now. And I think personally, they go ahead and go toe to toe with this team. I think the lineups, they're going to have to switch the lineups to start this series. I think we're going to have to see something completely different at the 4 spot. I don't think Nalissa Smith should be starting. I think Temmie should start the playoff series at the 4 spot. Now, What I would say is this: as far as her attitude, man, don't let it over, over. Don't overthink it. It's Caitlin Clark. All greats are going to have some type of attitude towards the rest. They're going to let it be known. I would say this: there is times where Chrissy Sides has to be able to pull her player apart and like, hey, come here. She has to do that and be like, look, I know you're frustrated. Don't let it get too much of you. Let me handle it. Well, that's one thing I want to see out of Chrissy Sides.
Face the Connecticut Sun in the postseason, take the under. I mean, Connecticut is really pesky defense. Nate Carrington is just like a lockdown type of defender. She's very physical. She's, they're going to get under their skin a little bit.
But to her detriment. And we literally saw that play out the last time they played. It was, getting the cookies, going coast to coast, and then calling out Caitlin, and Caitlin Clark literally blowing right past her on the other end of the court. So while yes, that could be good and aggressive, that could also come back and bite her, especially when stakes are elevated, and especially when we know tensions and stakes will be certainly heightened in a 3-game series.
I mean, that's what you do. Like
no, for sure.
Listen, you talk your talk, and then you end up having to sort of deal with the other side of it. Dejanay knows that people were like clowning her for that. You don't think that's the first time she's had to step out on a limb? You know who's finding that out the hard way right now? The quarterback for Colorado State, because that's one of the big,
We're not going to get into Shador right now. If Elle, we're not getting into Colorado right now. They're going to blow up the whole he didn't shake the quarterback's hand. Well, guess what? The quarterback was talking crazy. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. You see how I just got fired up? We're going to leave this with Caitlin Clark, man. Look, Caitlin Clark and the Fever have a chance to win this series. As I stated before, I think they need to sit out on Thursday versus the Mystics. Me personally, I wouldn't play them more than 2 quarters. Maybe I would start this game specifically. I would like to see the starting 5 you plan on playing versus Connecticut Suns. So if I'm Chrissy Sides, I'm already game planning for the Suns. I want to see the lineup you're going to play on Thursday, and I want this to be the starting 5 going into the playoffs. I don't want to see adjustments. I want to see the adjustments now for Thursday. If you decide to play these girls, I want to see the adjustments now. Okay? Besides that, there's been some talks from Alyssa Smith and a tweet and all that good stuff. We're not going to go over that, but the Fever, what I don't want is team chemistry and things to fall apart based off tweets and social media and stuff like that, especially when we're going into the playoffs. Like, everybody should be off social media and really locked in and focused. So that's one thing a lot of NBA players do when it's playoff time. They put the phones away. Social media is done. We're locked in. So I would say, honestly, I really do think the Fever could beat the Connecticut Suns. People are going to say I'm crazy, but when I look at this team and I look at the roster and I look at gameplay and I look at what we could do, if we can get this team, get under their skin, get them to foul, get to the free throw line, play our game, play fast, and then just play outstanding defense. And we have to out-rebound this team. They cannot rebound with us. That's one thing they're not going to be able to do is rebound with us. We have to be able to rebound. So I'm excited about the series. I know you guys are as well. And what I really want is for the Fever to bring the series back to Indiana. First 2 games are going to be at Connecticut. So it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but I think they could pull it out. And yeah, man, that was a great take by Elle finally. And her sidekick, I forgot his name. But yeah, great show right there by Elle. And great take on the Caitlin Clark. And just knowing how she gets and knowing that it's not going to be a problem for Caitlin Clark. If anything, it's firing her up and getting her motor going. So that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to leave it right here. I appreciate you guys, man. Make sure you guys sub up to the channel. Welcome to Game Day Network. I'll catch you guys on the next video. I'm out.